From our experience, serving a lot of small business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, those that are self-employed, starting a 401k for that individual small business is typically not a high priority. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it should be. Got that and more coming up. If you work for an employer, I think it is baseline expectations these days that they should offer a retirement plan. Now, not all do, and it doesn't mean that then, you're working for the wrong company, but baseline expectation, most of them do offer a retirement plan, and most of them, that retirement plan is a 401k with a company match. Now, again, not all of them have a company match, and your employer might offer a simple IRA, not a 401k or some other type of plan, but it's fairly common if you're an employee working for a company. Now, if you're self-employed, whether that's self-employed, you were an employee and you've gone out on your own, or whether you're starting your own small business, or whether you are self-employed, an independent contractor sort of thing, starting a 401k is typically not high on the priority list. You are trying to build your business, whether it's you or whether you have dreams of having employees, you're trying to build your business. You're trying to have steady income. If you have transitioned from being employed by someone else to being self-employed, the primary objective is first to put food on the table, right? So you're trying to grow your income. And then third, you're also trying to juggle expenses, business expenses that can just pop up out of nowhere, but also managing the taxes of your business. And so therefore, even though when you make the leap and start your own business, I'm sure you're thinking, oh, the wealth that you can build and starting a retirement plan, it's probably, you have good intentions, but just from experience, typically it's not a high priority. And what that means is self-employed individuals can go years before they finally get around to starting that 401k. Now, I'm not saying that it should be the highest priority, right? No, you do have to juggle those 3 things that I mentioned. However, I do want to encourage you starting a 401k when you're self-employed earlier in the process, not later, is significantly better. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. The first and primary reason is when you are self-employed, taxes can come at you and come at you fast. And you might say, why? I'm not self-employed. Maybe I've considered it out there in the future. Why would the taxes be any different? It's because you have a hard time managing, well, what will my taxable income be, and being able to see that, but also there isn't withholdings or the right level of withholdings on all of the income that's going to land on your tax return. Let me explain. If you pay yourself a salary as a self-employed individual, which you probably should. If you're S Corp, then you've got to pay a fair and reasonable salary. But there's a few different ways that you can draw income out of the business when you're self-employed. But if you pay yourself a salary, hopefully you're withholding on that, okay? And hopefully that you're, withholding FICA, you'd be required to do so, and then you're paying payroll taxes. But for your other income, for the profit, for the distributions or whatever, the other income that you have that lands on your tax return as a small business owner, there's no requirement for there to be withholdings against it. If you are, Schedule C or sole proprietor, if all of that profit is going to be taxed as a self-employed individual, and then it's going to have self-employment taxes on it, 15.3%, you're not having any withholdings on those dollars. Plus the profit amount, the taxable amount that's going to land on your tax return sometimes is very different than the amount of cash that you have in the bank. And so as a small business owner, or when you're just getting started, it can be very, very difficult to know, well, how much income is going to land on my tax return? Therefore, how much tax do I need to be prepared to pay? And we've just seen it countless times where there's this struggle of managing income, managing expenses. The taxes typically are a shock or a surprise, and then you use tomorrow's cash flow to cover last year's taxes and get in this sort of tax doom loop cycle. Well, starting a 401k, as you know, has huge tax benefits, right? If you start a 401k and contribute to it pre-tax, that creates a tax deduction, a deferral of your income today. And as a small business owner can go a long way in helping you manage the taxes that can prop up or surprise you when you're owning your own business. Not to mention, 401ks these days, if you're starting a new one, can come with some meaningful tax credits as well. So in addition to the tax deferral or pre-tax contributions to 401k that really anyone that has a 401k can benefit from, you as a small business owner starting your own 401k, starting a new 401k under these current rules may be eligible for some meaningful tax credits in addition to that tax deferral. So work with your CFP on that. Second, and if you've never owned your own small business, you might say, this is hard to believe. You might have even seen the contrary to this, but I would say in large, if I broad brush here, most small business owners have a hard time pulling money out of the business. And again, you might say, I've got tons of evidence that shows that's not true. Let me give you a little bit of context there. Most small business owners, again, they're trying to grow the business, they're trying to build their income, and they often look at the business as their best investment. And therefore, any extra cash, they tend to keep in there. So that's another employee I can hire, and that's a business expense that's going to help me to grow the business. And so they tend to just leave the money in there. And then in fits and spurts, if the business really has a successful period or whatever, that's when you see a big chunk come out and they buy a new car, or they buy something. And so it's not typically methodical and automatic and pragmatic, okay, for small business owners. You might say, well, I mean, we all struggle with that discipline. Well, for small business owners and everything that you're juggling, it's just harder to say, no, it's okay. And it's important for you to consistently draw some money out of the business and fund a 401k. And therefore, setting up the 401k allows for that disciplined and automatic savings for your 401k, for your retirement and financial future. For many small business owners, they look at their business as, well, this is the wealth that I'm building, and hope at some time in the future, the income is just going to go parabolic and they'll be able to have a lot of cash that they can set aside for retirement out there in the future. Maybe, I'll sell the business at some point. And instead, while either of those things may happen, and I hope they do, along the way, setting up a disciplined and automatic way of saving money for your financial future is a wise decision for those that are employed, but certainly self-employed individuals as well. And then third, finally, I mentioned this as well, during those times when the small business really takes off, or if you're self-employed sole proprietor and your income, you sign a new contract or whatever, and you get more vendors or whatever, and your income just starts growing. Had a lot of discussions as small businesses move from working to really working, that the 401k offers the largest bucket that you can save dollars in a tax-deferred way into. And we all know that, right? The 401k has the highest contribution limits, $24,500 for tax year 2026 and moving forward, and catch-up contributions and super catch-up, all that sort of stuff. But when you are self-employed, not only are those large contribution limits available to you, you can also set up a profit-sharing plan. Most single Ks, actually all of them that we set up, also have a profit-sharing component, so that if it's you working for your business and maybe your spouse and you are the only two employees, you can set up a single K. That single K has the normal $24,500 contribution limits plus catch-up contributions, but you can also do a profit sharing as well. You could even set it up to do after-tax 401k contributions, the mega backdoor Roth IRA. So some of these benefits that are available to, just those of us that are employees at a business, for your self-employed, for your sole proprietorship, for your small business, you can set that up as well. And as the income, as the business starts succeeding, you've got very large buckets that you can save dollars tax deferred into for your financial future. So many of those reasons that as a small business owner, you'd want to have a 401k apply to those of us that are just employees at a business as well. However, it is unique. The taxes are unique. Managing and juggling income and expenses are unique, and needing to have that consistent way of building up for your financial future, that also looks different, feels different as an entrepreneur, or maybe just entrepreneurs think differently as well. I certainly know that that's true. If you own a small business, if you are thinking of becoming self-employed, that is a comprehensive financial planning decision. It's going to impact all 6 areas of your financial life. Your cash flow, protection planning, tax planning is really what we're talking about, as well as investments, retirement, and estate planning. Work with your certified financial planner on that. They can help quarterback all of that, entity setup, the right entity structure, how to manage your withholdings and taxes, all of those items. Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.